We're going to look at another fiddle tune today. How to develop a variation, different break, something interesting for a certain fiddle tune. This is a good fiddle tune. Subscriber requested, Soldier's Joy. It's a good fiddle tune because I really don't have anything for it. I've got it even in less than I do for the other tunes. So let's see what we can do here with this thing. I'm going to play an open D. I'm tuned to A432. Here's a note for you. Reference note. Okay, you can go tune your guitar to that if you want to. So the first thing we do is the melody. The chords, of course, let's see. There's the chords. As far as the feel goes on this song, it's a little bit more of the old-timey thing again because it's got kind of a shuffle. You know, when I think about Soldier's Joy, I think about the version that's on the Will the Circle Be Unbroken album. And what's cool about that one is you've got Earl Scruggs doing three-finger roll on the banjo, and you got John McEwen doing clawhammer, and I really like the clawhammer sound. Of course, you know, Scruggs is great, but the clawhammer sound really gives it that bounce. When I think of Soldier's Joy, I think about that version more than any other version. Of course, on guitar, there's Clarence White, who used it. What else do I have? Those are the ones that pop into mind, but really I don't really have a version in mind. That's just those are and Clarence versus Earl and John, completely different styles and approaches to it. So anyway, what I'm getting at here is I don't have a real history. I don't have a sound that I want to get out of Soldier's Joy. So here's the melody. The melody varies, of course, especially on the B part, depending on who you listen to, where you get it, what sheet music you look at, whatever. It seems like there's like 100 different melodies on this, but there's the best I know it. I'm going to do it in open D right now. So. I'm not sure about that part. Give me a minute. Okay, so. Something like that, okay? So that's about it. My gosh, I don't have very many variations on that. So the first thing I'm going to think about is that little motif going on there. And we're going from, we're in D. We're going from the third. So you do the lead-in lick here from a F sharp to a G to the A. That's a lead-in lick. The measure would start on the fifth. So there's your main motif for Soldier's Joy. The fifth, the third, and the root. Going down to that, which would be an A chord. finish it off. I like this lick because it lays on my fingers nicely there. So you've got a leading lick, and then you've got fifth, third, root. Now you got a repetitive thing going on here. So first thing I'm going to wonder is, can I do anything like that? That's a little variation, real quick. Take one of the repetitive figures and see if you can use some similar notes. Like, in other words, I didn't just go, the repetitive figure is this one, and then I didn't just go somewhere else. I still used the same note, that F sharp. You see? So I kind of jumped out of the repetitive figure and went down, came back through it again. Like that. Okay? And let's see. What happens if I keep going to that? So. Variation to it. I'm taking that. I'm doing the. I'm stating the figure, the repetitive figure, and then dropping down a little bit, coming back through it, and then going up a little bit higher off of it, just to see what that might sound like. You could also do some slurs going into it. So. The thing that I'm doing here with all of these things is I've got a little set book of tricks that I can use. I can take the melody, I can look for a repetitive figure, and I can go down below that figure and come up past it. I can then continue to go past the figure. I can use some slurs inside that figure. I can, after I've done that for a little while in this position, I can shift the whole thing up an octave and see what I can get out of it. So let's see if there's anything that works there. So I'm taking these bag of tricks, pretty standard set of bag of tricks. Slurs, dropping below the melody, going above the melody, coming down to the melody from above rather than here's the melody. Try coming down to the melody line. Try coming up this way to the melody line. Try varying the melody line a little bit, and listen to it, and then see what you think. What do you like? What sounds good? What doesn't sound good? So, for instance, that sort of thing keeps that old-timey bouncy feel. When I did the slur, I came in on a flat third, you see. And that immediately gives it a bluesy feel. It immediately gives it a different sort of feel, especially with any slur. Immediately changes it into sort of a rock and roll feel, you see. that flat third sort of thing gives it the bluesy sound. And maybe I don't want to go that way with Soldier's Joy. Maybe I want to save that for one phrase, one time through. So I'm just listening to these things and I'm seeing how they sound. Do I want to go that direction? Do I want to go this direction? Maybe I'm going to save that in reserve for some time, But I'm applying my standard set of tricks to the song to see whether or not I like that or not. Do I want to use that? Do I want to use this? Do I want to use the other? So what can I do if I come up the neck here? So the basic melody again, 5th, 3rd, root. Right there. So an A. Let's see which A might I use. This one. Up to a high D. Something like that. I'm not sure I like that position for that. What if I go to this A? This A, F sharp, out of this one. Does that work? I'm just, again, throwing out some notes here. What's going to fall out of my fingers well? So do I like that? I got to get to a D. Might go to that D. I like that. So... potential, do I like that? What if I drone it? Yeah, now we're starting to get something. I like the drone because it gives it a fatter sound and, keeps that pulse going. So I kind of like that. If I was going to go up the neck, I probably would definitely use a snippet of a D chord. And I might even try to get that A into the act. So let's see. Okay, something like that. Now later on, I'm going to come back and refine that. And what I'm doing here is I'm just, what's the term? Brainstorming. We're just brainstorming here to see what might sound good. I'm not going to sit here and polish these ideas. You can do that on your own time. I'll do that on my own time. These things take practice, but I'm looking to see what I like. I didn't like this one so much. That position, that comes out of this position. This one. Again, as I talked about before, I don't like the E and the B notes strings when I can get it up here on these heavier strings. I don't like the jump from here to get that D. Now I'm out of position for this. But when I do it up here, it's all right there into my fingers. Plus, I get to cross pick it. Okay, so there's a pretty good little lick. I like that. So I'm probably going to focus on that. And then, like I said, I'm going to look at this and I'm going to see what kind of drone I can get. There's an open D sitting right there in front of my face that I like. You can do it there too. How about this? Yeah, that's got some possibilities. I'm doing it from the notes I want, but I'm going backwards. Instead of playing this A here, I'm going to go up here and get it. That's not bad. And I can put my finger, flatten my pinky down and get the D note that I want. This is a nice chord I like a lot. The A, E, and A. That gives you the A chord. The E note's a melody note. I like that because that gives me the potential for that drone A. So I can do this. These notes. For the D. And these notes for the A. Can even get that in there too. So I kind of like that. I hate to lose that lick. That's a nice outro lick. So I'm thinking about what I could do here. Whether I want to make a shift in order to start up here again. So let me think about this a second. There you go. I like that. So, and then I'm going to make a shift. So I like that. I like that that position here. Yeah, okay. So I've got four variations already on Soldier Joy, which, like I said again, I'm gonna play with those variations a lot more, and I'm gonna see what I like, how I like to put them together. But this is the brainstorming part. I'm gonna brainstorm some ideas. I'm gonna think about them, and then I'm gonna come back to them, put them together in the pieces that I like, what I like musically. What kind of feel do they give me? How do they, what kind of feel do they give me? And I store that information. So if I'm playing along, all of a sudden I want a little bit of a bluesier feel. That sounds a lot like Ragtime Annie, which is something, again, that I'm going to keep in mind. Oh, that's Ragtime Annie. What if I threw a quote of Ragtime Annie inside of Soldier's Joy, It would pick it up. One time I was doing a workshop with, who was this? I did it twice. I did one with Jim Hurst and I did one with Jim Nunnally. And in both cases, we played a tune, and I'm pretty sure this was with Hurst, with Jim Hurst. And we played we played Black Mountain Rag. And I played it in the traditional position, capoed up. I played it out of a C position, played it out of a G position, and then played it out of a D position. So we're capoed up, so it's A, D, and E. And when I got to Black Mountain Rag and out of a D position, I thought, God, that's Ragtime Annie, And it stuck in my head so bad that I almost couldn't play Black Mountain Rag because I was thinking Ragtime Annie. And I laughed, and I mentioned that in the workshop, and Jim said, yeah, that's a valid thing, When you shift out of your position, you go, man, that sounds a lot like that tune. And I would have never realized the Black Mountain Rag was so close to Ragtime Annie had I not shifted out into a different position in a different chord. So, with that in mind, having established my thought process here for Soldier's Joy in D, I'm going to take the melody, I'm going to make a little variation on it. There's a variation right there. And then here's a variation up here that I didn't like. I didn't like that one, but I like this one. I like that one, and I like this one. Now I'm going to play with all of those pieces again. But another thing you can do, if you're really stuck, is put your capo on here and play it out of a different position. See what you think. So, here we go, Soldier's Joy. We're still in D. Play it out of a C position, which is common. You know, a lot of people play it out of a C position. I like open D because I like the A and the D strings, you know, to ring. I like open D. So, let's see. Fifth, third, and root. And there it is, you see. I don't even have to lift my finger up now. It's a... Not that varies, you know. And that's what Clarence did it. Okay, so what do you do for the B part? I don't even know, but I hear it there, you know. I hear it jumping out of there. Let's see. The chords are going to go. I'm not sure what I want to do on that. I'd work on that, but I know the melody, the finger is going to change dramatically using that. I can hear Clarence in there, but I got to sit there and figure it out. So do I like that? I like it okay. I mean, it'd be fun to have around. What can I do up the neck on this one? Do I still get these things? See, I can still get these because these were all closed positions anyways. That doesn't vary. I lose my drone. I lose a drone there because now I'm in E. So I lost my drone, so I don't really like that so much. But that's acceptable. As a variation in C. On the whole, I'm not sure I like the C position too well. What would happen if we did it out of the A position? So here's a C. So I'm going to put a capo up on the 3rd fret. Is that right? Yeah, 3rd fret. No, 5th fret. 5th fret. Put it up on the 5th fret. Play it out of the A position. Okay. Too tight. There we go. It's hard to play rhythm because I can't get my fingers in there, you know? I'm going to have to do a long A. melody would do. Well, now here it is right here. Here's our position right here. You see? So there's those closed position chords, and they fall into this right here. But what can I do in the open position? Because that's why I put the capo up here, to see if I can get something out of the open position. So your melody again is going to be a fifth, a third, and a root. B, E. Come on, think. This is going to take some exploring. I definitely don't like this high trebly one. You know, if I'm going to do that cross pick and roll, I'm going to do that at a C. But let's see if we can get anything on the low end of this. So that's an E. Well, that's basically the same lick as this. You see, that's the same pattern, but we're in a different place, of course. I'm not sure I gained anything by coming up here to A. I don't like the way the rhythm lays out. I don't like the high treble here. It ruins my fretted position. If I'm going to do this position, I'd rather do it in open D so that I can get my drone back. There's the drone, but it's just not working here. You see? Yeah, I don't like that. I'd rather do open D. But I'm exploring to see if I like it or not, you see? Capering up here at A doesn't do anything for me. Like, again, I don't like the rhythm position out of here. It's cramped. I can't do that. I don't want to do the long A because it ties up all my fingers that way. I'd do it if I had to for some reason or another. But by choice, I'm not going to play this out of open A, out of a capo to A. Plus, I lose all this part of the fingerboard here. So forget that. I think on the whole, that's why I like D. I've got the open D. I've got my drone notes right there. I can come up the neck. Keep my drone notes. I've got my positions here that I like. I like those. I really like this chord. I use that chord a lot, you know, for cross pick and stuff. It's all roots and fifths. And so I like that. I'm probably going to do Soldier's Joy out of open D. I like the rhythm in open D. Yeah, like that. So for my variation, my workup of Soldier's Joy, when I get to it, I'm going to do the melodic variations down here. I'm going to do the high variation. Camera cut me off. It goes 30 minutes and then it shuts off and I have to pay attention. So it's getting to be a little bit long, so we should wind this up. I'm going to do the high variation here. I'm going to do the mid-high variation. variations there. The one thing I have not done yet is done a drop D. And that could have some potential too. Except chords are a little funny to play in drop D. So if I'm playing this rhythm-wise and in the middle of a jam session, I don't want to. I don't want to retune. And that's just a matter of swinging your hand up here and smacking the low D, keeping the drum going. It's good for solo guitar, there's no question. If I was going to play Soldier's Joy as a solo guitar piece, I would probably definitely explore that drop D to see what might happen in there. The other thing that I haven't really done, I'm just going to throw this out there on the table, is try doing a double drop D just to see what you might get out of that. And you take this E right here and you drop it down to a D2. So you get this huge, massive, open D sound, and you might find something in there that you like. You know, it's kind of a hassle because in a jam session, old-timey jam, they're not going to stick around and wait for you to, to retune your guitar to those, and then your chords are a little different, which they may work. You have to explore it and see. But if you're playing a fiddle tune in D, there's a possibility for you. Definitely the drop D, possibly a double drop D. See what you get out of that. Once you start getting into double drop D, you start getting into Keith Richards territory, and it's going to be really, really difficult for me to not play Keith Richards licks in the middle of Soldier's Joy. Which, you might be able to pull it off, because when Keith plays in his open G tuning, it's really the same as a banjo. So it's a little bit of an interesting thing to think about Brown Sugar being a banjo tune, but it really is. Okay, so anyway, that's enough rambling. That gives you some thought ideas and some processes on where things to try. You got to try these things. You got to sit down with your little bag of tricks and you apply it to this, and you see, do I like that? Do I not like it? That's the way it goes with everything. I raced a motocross a couple of weeks ago, and I go out on the track and I do my lines and I do the things that at first seem pretty good, and I'm following everybody else's line, and pretty soon there's a solid line in the track. So I'm following their lines, but I'm on a smaller bike, a much smaller bike. I'm on a 125 and I'm racing against 450s. So I've got to have something different if I'm going to beat them, because I'm not going to beat them at their own game. I've got to do something different here. So I, GoPro'd it with, and that evening after practice, I sat around and I look at my footage. And in the footage, when I'm not under the pressure of trying to hang on to the bike and everything, I see, look at that line. How come I didn't try that? So I look at that line, memorize it, and then in the evening I went out and walked the track. And I walked around the track and I looked at some stuff, and I discovered a lot of lines that I didn't see either in the camera or when I was actually riding. In a case like this, there was a turn and went up a hill, and then there was a set of rollers, including a set coming up, and most guys went wide and down and up. And when I looked at that, I said, the inside, if you came in really hard and turned really, really tight, and I mean hit the brake and almost stop and go up this way, first of all, you've got fresh dirt going up this thing instead of a hard pack. Second of all, when you get over it, the rollers were almost flat. So instead of being 2 feet deep, they were almost flat. So that means if you slowed down just a second, you had almost a smooth line going over here, and then you had a left-hand turn, which if you kept to the inside, you had a much shorter track than the guys going on the outside the whole time. So I stayed on the inside, and again I had a smoother line through the next set of rollers, stayed on the inside once again, and by now I've cut the track down by, 50 or 60 feet. I'm running a smaller track. than the other guys are that take the outside line around the whole thing. So that means I can actually go slower and beat them to this place. The point is, that's a set of tricks. The video, looking at the lines, going out and walking and looking for some other way to do this. And that's the same approach as I'm using for this. And then you have to go out and actually try it and see if it works. Because just because it looks good and sounds good doesn't mean it's going to actually work at speed. You see? So, but it's the same approach as to here. You got a bag of tricks. You apply the bag of tricks to here, and you pull out what's going to work, what's not going to work. If you're trying to make a variation on a fiddle tune, what you're doing is you're really trying to make yourself sound different from everybody else that played just before you. You see, that's the line. All these guys are taking this line, and if I'm going to beat them on a smaller bike, I've got to take a different line that gives me an advantage. And so that's the same, it's the same exact thought process. How do I make myself stand out on this track or this fiddle tune with its melody? Because I can't just go freestyling here, you know. I can't play jazz on Soldier's Joy. You can, but it's not going to be Soldier's Joy. And the next time you play the next tune in D, say St. Anne's Reel, then you're going to sound exactly the same. You're going to be playing the same licks all the time. So you've got to stick with something. You've got to have a track. That track is the melody. So when I'm on the racetrack, I can't just go blasting off and cut the corner and go this way. You see, oh, I won, you know. Well, if I was going to do that, I would just go from the finish line straight, or the starting line straight over to the finish line and raise my hands and go, I won. You can't do that. You've got to go on the track. But you've got to make it different somehow. So that's my thought process on all this. Apply the little bag of tricks, pull out the information, pull out the line, pull out the pattern that I like and that I think is going to get done what I want it to do. And I'm going to basically do that with every fiddle tune, every vocal tune that I do. But of course, it also depends on how many breaks am I going to get. Am I going to get one break? You know, I don't want to put the whole kitchen sink into every single break. So if I just get one break, I'm more than likely staying fairly close to the melody with just a few variations on it. If I get 4 or 5 breaks, then I'm going to vary a lot more. I'm going to try different things. I'm going to go out on a limb. If I'm doing solo guitar where I can play as many breaks as I want on the tune, and my goal is to develop this as a composition, as an arrangement, then I'm going to really play variations. Go look at my version of Blackberry Blossom, for instance. You know, I threw the whole kitchen sink in that, except for harmonics. I didn't have the harmonics. I do know harmonics on it, but I got tired of playing them. So, but I might put the whole kitchen sink in that. And then I'm going to come back and do the line again just to show you that I know where the melody is. So, okay, that's the thought process. Soldier's Joy. Soldier's Joy doesn't really do a lot for me, but that's okay. You know, if I spent some time on it, I would find things that I like, and then it just very well might do something for me. You know, St. Anne's Reel was like that for a long time. I didn't really, St. Anne's Reel, yawn. So I sat down, I really woodshedded on it and really worked on it, played and played and played, and then pretty soon I started finding some things that I really liked, and I thought, man, that's cool, you know, I'm going to use that. So, okay, get to work. And the guitar of the day was my the Shop's D28 1937 Authentic. It is 2014, so that makes it non-VTX, non-aged. Made it for 1 year. And there it is. It's a natural authentic. It's an authentic, I guess. See you later.